Hey, what's up you guys, it's me Luke and welcome back to another video, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I post commentary and critique and reaction videos on basically anything on the internet that interests me. So if any of that interests you, then be sure to go ahead and subscribe and turn on the post notifications bell so that you never miss another upload from me. So in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to your guys' unpopular opinions. If you don't know, I have a series on my channel where I do this. I'll link the playlist down below. I basically go ahead and ask you guys in my community tab or my Instagram, so if you want to go ahead and follow me, it's just at the Luke Alexander, so you can go ahead and be involved in the next video. And yeah, I just make a video reacting and responding to your guys' unpopular opinions. And there was almost 3,000 comments, so I tried my best to read as many of them as I could so we could get some ones that we haven't heard before. So we have some interesting ones to react to today. And let's get into it because I'm about to dive in to your unpopular opinions. Alrighty guys, so we're starting off strong with this first unpopular opinion. I don't know why people don't call Ariana Grande out for being a blackfish. So obviously blackfishing is really insensitive and harmful. It's basically when non-black people try and appear black so that they can reap the benefits from being racially ambiguous and steal the spot from another person of color. It's really horrible. There's tons of videos out there where you can do your research. I've seen a lot of people saying that Ariana Grande is a blackfish. Personally, I don't think she is. I don't think she tries to come across as black or racially ambiguous. I just think she really likes being tan, and I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. She's never done anything that I'm aware of that strikes me as blackfishing. Like, she's never had, you know, braids or cornrows or anything like that. So I personally just think she likes to be really tan, but then again, I'm not a person of color, so I guess I can't really speak on the matter. Next up is that The Joker is better than Parasite and it should have been movie of the year. I enjoyed both movies and both obviously deserved the awards that they got, but personally I think that Parasite was a better movie than Joker. I just think it was a lot more unique, and I also just think it's amazing that a foreign film in a foreign language won Best Picture, and I think that that is a big moment in history. So no, I definitely agree with Parasite being the winner. Okay, Shawn Mendes is overrated and all of his songs sound the same. Okay, I've spoken about this before in my unpopular opinion videos. I feel weird about saying someone's overrated because they're obviously popular for a reason. In terms of all of his songs sounding the same, I will admit I'm not the biggest fan of his music. I can't really tell a lot of his songs apart. I do think he's a good singer, but I think he's a good singer in the same sense that Justin Bieber's a good singer. Like, they're both good singers, but neither of them really have a special voice. But then again, that's coming from somebody who literally can't hold a note, so who am I to talk? I think Nikita Dragun's biphobia is a little justified, although it's not right. I just understand why. This was really confusing to me. I mean, on my video on Nikita Dragun, which if you don't know, I did a video reacting / responding to her Snapchat reality show, and she makes a lot of biphobic remarks in that I had a lot of problems with being bisexual myself and just being a person who isn't okay with people discriminating against other people. And there are people saying to me that it's okay because she's trans and she just really wants to feel like a woman, and being with a man who likes other men invalidates her trans identity, which I really don't agree with, nor do I understand, because he's attracted to you because you're a woman, because he's attracted to women, not because he's attracted to men as well. Like, that doesn't make, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't think that discrimination against anyone, whether that's their sexuality or their race or their gender, is justified whatsoever. So I disagree with this unpopular opinion, and I disagree with the comments that I got in that video about it. I don't want to hear a lick of it. I'm sorry. I don't think that you need to discriminate against somebody else to validate yourself. And that's just on a period. Next up is porn can have a lot of negative effects and people are not ready to have that conversation. I definitely agree that there is a lot of porn that has negative effects on people, but then again, porn has always been around. I just think nowadays it's just a lot more easily accessible. But I definitely think that we need to open up the conversation about what is real, what is normal, what is healthy, because I think that we get a lot of our education from pornography when we should be getting it from adults or schools and stuff like that. And I think that if we had better sex education in schools, teenagers or young people or people in general, or even gay people especially, since the sex education for same-sex intercourse is really lacking, we wouldn't have to go to porn to learn all these things. And I definitely think that the effects of porn is a lot stronger than anybody realizes, and I think that it's a discussion that we need to have, but I think it all stems back to the lack of sex education. Wow, I kind of snapped there. Next up is Outer Banks isn't that good of a show and the guys aren't as hot as they're hyped up to be. I disagree in a few senses. First of all, when it comes to people's appearances, I said that before in my last unpopular opinion video when it came to Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland. Whether you find someone attractive is subjective, so I ain't going to speak on that. Personally, I think all 5 of the main characters in Outer Banks are really attractive. The 3 guys and the 2 girls, I think all of them are beautiful. When it comes to the show, I will admit the first couple episodes were kind of slow and I was kind of like confused as to why the show was so hyped, but once I got into that show, I got into that show. Outer Banks is so good. I am so emotionally invested. That ending, I need a season 2 like right now. The fact that I have to wait a year for that is alarming. I am so invested in these characters and their relationships and their friendship, and I really wish that I was a part of that friendship, and they're so cool and I love them all so much. So no, I don't think the show's overhyped. People who use their star signs as personality traits annoy me to the core. Okay, so I've tweeted about this and spoken about this before. I'm not really into star signs / zodiac signs / horoscopes / astrology, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's not really my thing. I'm not interested in it. I don't really understand how the time of year in which you are born can dictate your personality and the way that you behave. I think they're all created really vague so that pretty much anyone can relate to it. Whenever anybody's like, oh my god, I would never date a Leo, or I would never be friends with a Scorpio, or I would never this, that, and the third. I think it's so stupid. You know, if you believe in it, that's all good. That's okay. You believe in whatever you want to believe in. But personally, I think it's a load of horse shit. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna get some hate about that. But you know what I said, and I meant what I said. Period. Next up is more straight people make their sexuality their personality than gay people. I thought this was really interesting because I think there's a common notion of people being like,
oh, you can be gay, but don't throw it in my face. Or like, oh, well, I hate it when people are gay and it's like such a big part of their personality, this and that.
And I understand that to a certain degree. But then when you think about it, there's also like people who are straight who make themselves being straight a big part of their personality. Maybe it's just because being straight is what is the norm. But when you think about it, there's like people who have like the straight stereotypes, or, you know, guys who constantly talk about girls or being with girls, or girls who constantly talk about guys and being with guys. And like they talk about it a lot as well. But I think maybe just because being straight is the norm, it's not really anything that's looked down upon. Whereas when somebody is gay and it's a big part of who they are, people are kind of like, okay, we get it. You don't have to rub it in our face. So I do think that that is an interesting point. Next one is the Shrek series is actually one of the best animated series ever. Very amusing. I saw a lot of unpopular opinions about Shrek. I don't know why. Is Shrek having like a revamp that I haven't really heard about? But so many people were talking about Shrek. People saying Shrek is overhyped, saying Shrek doesn't deserve the hype, saying Shrek is amazing. Me personally, I think Shrek is amazing. Even before the meme, which I do love the Shrek is love, Shrek is life meme. And I just think Shrek in and of itself is just a funny thing, a funny concept. I think that the Shrek series was really good. It's really funny. It's really entertaining. Loki might watch Shrek tonight. I don't know. Also, Shrek just hits different, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, moving on. The Say So remix wasn't good. So I assume you're talking about Say So with Nicki Minaj and Doja Cat. I think that the remix is really good. I think it pops. I love it so much. I love Doja and I love Nicki. To have them together in a song is... I really love the Say So remix. I'm sorry, I have to disagree. I think it's amazing. I think it revamped that song because I was so sick of hearing that song because it's so overplayed because of TikTok. But now that we got the remix, it's good. You know what I'm saying?
Hey Doja. Yeah, it's the remix.
I spend way too much time on TikTok. Skinny shaming is just as bad as fat shaming. I saw a lot of comments about skinny shaming and how skinny shaming is real and how skinny shaming is just as intense as fat shaming. And I definitely agree that skinny shaming is a thing, 100%. I have not experienced it myself. But I have had friends who've experienced it, and I do think that shaming anyone's body type is horrible. But when it comes to this specific statement that skinny shaming is as bad as fat shaming, I don't think that you can compete on how bad a discrimination is. But I think that when it comes to skinny shaming versus fat shaming, I think that people who are overweight experience shame and discrimination a lot more than people who are skinny. And I think that being skinny is more accepted than being overweight. So I don't necessarily think it's as bad as being fat shamed. And then I also feel weird saying that because I think it's like everybody's struggle is specific to them. But when it comes to society, because we live in a society, I think that it's not as intense. But then again, your feelings are valid. Ooh, I feel weird about this. I just don't like speaking about people's bodies or appearances because I feel like it's all very subjective and sensitive, and I just want everybody to love themselves and don't discriminate people because of the way that they look. Oh, we're speaking about bodies again. Okay, next one is Adele being extremely praised for her glow up is triggering to people suffering from EDs. Whew, where to start with this? So if you are not aware, Adele, the legend that she is, I've been listening to her music again recently. All of this just made me remind how much I miss Adele. She recently posted a picture of her on her birthday and she is looking very slim. She has lost a lot of weight. Although this weight has been lost over a gradual period of time, it's just that Adele is a very private person. She doesn't post a lot of pictures, but because she hasn't posted in a while, everybody's like,
oh my god, Adele is skinny, oh my god.
And everybody's like losing their shit. I think Adele looked beautiful before. I think she looks beautiful now. The body type that she has now is more of the ideal body type according to society. So I do understand why everybody's like going nuts about it. In terms of her glow up triggering people suffering from EDs, I mean, yes, I could understand that, but life is full of triggers. People praising Adele, I don't think they're doing that to intentionally trigger people with EDs. It's a very nuanced conversation. You know, I think there's people out there who are saying Adele was always beautiful, y'all just hate fat people. Adele was always beautiful, but obviously some people are only attracted to certain body types, or some people favor certain body types, so some people think she has glown up. Some people don't necessarily think that. As a society, I think maybe we should just comment on people's bodies less. But then again, if I lost a bunch of weight, I would enjoy being complimented on it because I know how hard it is to do that. I don't know, y'all. It's such a nuanced conversation. I just hate talking about people's bodies and appearances because it's so touchy. But Adele is that bitch, has been that bitch, will for always be that bitch no matter what size she is. And that's just all I'm gonna say on that. Next one is David Dobrik isn't funny, never has been. He is just that loud, obnoxious, completely unwatchable type of vlogging channel that I can't stand. Like, to me, he is basically just a less problematic version of Jake Paul. Also, I feel that he does a lot of problematic pranks, especially with animals, and I think he kind of teeters on abuse, but no one bats an eye. But if someone like Jake Paul did it, people would be freaking out. Whew, child, a lot to unpack here. Okay, so David Dobrik, where to begin? I think I've spoken about him on my channel before. I personally don't watch David Dobrik's videos. I understand the appeal. I understand why people like him, but I'm just not really a fan of that type of content. Like, it reminds me of Jackass, where like people just do pranks. I don't like pranks. I don't like loud videos where people are yelling and laughing and getting drunk and doing dumb stuff. It's just not my type of humor. I do see why some people enjoy it. However, I think there's a lot of problems with David's content. He definitely puts his friends in harm's way for the entertainment of his channel, but then it's not like his friends don't benefit from it. But then I guess you could argue that he's manipulating them with money, and I guess you could say he's using them, but then I guess you could say they also use him. So it's a kind of like a symbiotic relationship. And then I guess you could say that maybe if Jake Paul did do some of the stuff that he did, that he would get hated on, but Jake Paul's also trash, so I don't really know. Humor is subjective. Me personally, not really a fan. Think he's a cool guy. Not my type of content. Let's move on. I can practically hear the David Dobrik stands hating on me. Okay, this one. Billie Eilish isn't groundbreaking at all. Her sound has been done before. Her voice is good, but it definitely isn't the best. All her songs are the same, and her fans overhype her when she's just your average pop star. I don't dislike her music. I just don't think it's as special as people make it seem. I'm gonna have to strongly disagree. I think that Billie Eilish is not just your average pop star. I do genuinely think she's unique. Her voice is very unique. Nobody else sounds like Billie Eilish. You play Billie Eilish, you're gonna know it's Billie Eilish. I don't think her songs all sound the same. I think Billie's songs are actually really unique. She's got a lot of songs that sound very different. No, I'm sorry. I genuinely disagree. I think that maybe just because Billie Eilish's main core demographic is teen girls and people just hate on teen girls for whatever reason. People think she's overhyped, but you have to give the girl credit. She is so young and so gifted, and of course so is Phineas, who is her brother, who helps her with her songs a lot. And I just disagree. I love Billie Eilish, okay? Next one is the older generation can't complain about younger generations being bad people or claiming we weren't raised right when you're the ones who raised us. You do be speaking facts though. Being attracted to dark-skinned girls isn't a personality trait. I see it all over TikTok with white boys proclaiming that they are into dark-skinned girls like it's a trend. And although their intentions may be kind, it's a little suspicious. I've seen that as well. I honestly just think it's because they want to get praise. Like they're going to be like,
oh my God, look at this white boy not being racist. Oh my God, thank you, thank you.
Y'all be praising white boys for doing the bare minimum. I've said it before, I'll be saying it again. And yes, I am in fact a white boy. I just think the whole,
oh yeah, I like Hispanics, I like whites, I like dark skin.
Just like, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, can't we just like people? You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing having a sexuality, but now we gotta have like subsections of a sexuality where we're only attracted to certain races. Like, if that's the case, keep it to yourself. Nobody wants to hear it, okay? So I think that white boys saying that, oh yeah, I really am attracted to dark-skinned girls getting praise is because it's so usually the opposite. I think it should just be neither or. I just think that race just should not be a factor when it comes to your type. Just like, keep it pushing if that is the case. Just keep your mouth shut. I mean, obviously we cannot control what we are attracted to, but I don't think we need to proclaim it from the rooftops or bring other people down or make people feel less than by saying what races we are or aren't attracted to. Just zip it up. Zip it. Next one is most teenagers in shows are overly sexualized. Not everyone is sexually active. I saw this a lot and I thought this was really interesting because that's definitely the truth. In a lot of teen shows, almost all the teens are shown to be sexually active, and that definitely is not the case with a lot of teenagers. And I think we definitely need more representation of teenagers who aren't sexually active, because I for sure remember when I was in high school watching teen shows and feeling really shitty about the fact that I hadn't lost my virginity yet or that I wasn't really sexually active, because that's the way it was depicted in all of these teen shows. So I definitely agree with this one. I think we need to have more shows where the teens are not super sexually active or it's not a big part of their life. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think it's important to show it, but I also think it's important to have that balance. Balance is key to everything in life. We as a society have become accustomed to women doing manly things while men can't do girly things because they're looked at as gay or less manly. It's a whole cycle on why men feel they have to act a certain way. I honestly could make a whole video about this, and maybe I will one day. When it comes to women being praised for liking traditionally masculine things, but then men being shamed or called gay for liking traditionally feminine things, I think it's deep rooted in a lot of things like misogyny, like how being masculine is favored over being feminine, and how that's why it's cool when girls are tomboys or girls are just friends with the guys or girls do manly things, it's seen as cool. But then when boys do feminine things, it's seen as gay or he's weak or he's less manly or he's not so much of a man, because we as a society value masculinity and manly things, traditionally masculine things, over femininity and feminine things. And I think that that is really messed up. It's not fair to women, and it's not fair to men who are more feminine or like more feminine things, and it's not fair to gay men, because once again, we need to stop using gay as an insult, because by somebody being feminine and you being like, oh, you're gay, not only are you insulting gay people, but you are insulting women, because you're putting the connotation that them liking something feminine is bad. So it's messed up.
Society! Oh!
This one says there's nothing wrong with being called gay if you aren't, just correct the person and move on. I agree with this in two senses. If somebody possibly thinks you're gay and they're not doing it in a malicious way, don't get so offended and over the top, because if you're comfortable enough in the fact that you're straight and somebody mistakenly calls you gay or thinks you're gay, just correct them and move on. Don't make a big deal out of it. But then on the other hand, I think it's really irritating when people constantly pester people being like, ooh, are you gay? You're gay, you're gay, you're this and that, just because they fit gay stereotypes. I think that's really messed up. So on both sides of the coins, I just think that we should stop assuming what people's sexualities are unless they tell you. And if somebody asks you what your sexuality is and they get it wrong, just politely correct them and stop badgering people about their sexuality. Really, it's none of your business. Casting adults to play teenagers in movies is inappropriate and can be detrimental to young adults. It's important that 16-year-olds in movies and TV shows, whatever else, look their age, so that people watching and looking up to these characters don't have to sacrifice how they feel about themselves because they don't look like that. Ooh, I understand why this is kind of difficult, because obviously in the acting world, usually actors play younger characters, and it's kind of difficult because there's not as many young actors, and then they're also not as good at acting because they're younger and they haven't had as much experience. But on the other hand, I think it is really, really frustrating when you have lots of shows like Riverdale or, you know, The Vampire Diaries, or really anything, even Outer Banks, which I just watched, where the people playing teenagers are like 28 years old, 30 years old, playing 16-year-olds, and it's like teenagers don't look like that. Teenagers don't have perfectly chiseled bodies or perfectly clear skin. I understand where you're coming from. When I was younger, I used to feel really crappy about myself and really confused when I watched teen shows, but the teens in the shows didn't look like teens. They look like adults. It's confusing. It's weird. I understand why it is the way it is, but can we get a bit more representation for like what teens actually look like? Get a bit of variation. You know, I don't think it's normal for every single boy in a high school to have a six-pack or for everyone to have clear skin. It's not normal. Next one is, I don't get the hype on designer brands. Most of them sell ugly, overpriced stuff like Gucci, Balenciaga, Fendi, blah, blah, blah. I mean, now and then I see designer clothes that I think looks kind of nice, but for the most part, just because something has a logo on it or just because something is designer doesn't mean it's cute. Okay, I go off of aesthetics, not off of the brand. I'm not really a designer person. I mean, I can't afford designer, but even if I could, I don't think I would be. The next one is, fan cams are really annoying, especially when people leave them in Twitter threads and the fan cam is irrelevant to the subject matter. Thank you! K-pop stans, I'm talking to you. I think it is so irritating when people just post their random fan cams. Like, it's so annoying and irrelevant. I've said it before, I don't understand stan accounts. Yo, it's a waste of time. Do you not have anything better to do? The Netflix show Insatiable is actually fire, and satire is the only genre of media I can tolerate anymore. Couldn't agree more. I love Insatiable. I'm so sad and frustrated that it got cancelled. If you don't know, Insatiable was a show on Netflix about this character played by Debbie Ryan, actually, which I know Debbie Ryan is being clowned on TikTok, and I get it. Trust me, I've watched Radio Rebel. Nobody clowns on her more than me, but she's actually really good in that show. I just think that the way they marketed the show in the beginning, they did not do well, and also the show is satire, so a lot of people didn't understand it. They thought it was fat phobic and that it was fat shaming, which it is not, because trust me, I've watched the show. But as somebody who has struggled with an ED, I think that the show did a really great way of representing eating disorders, in my opinion, from my experiences, and I just thought it was a really funny, entertaining show, and I guess a lot of people nowadays just don't understand satire, so that's why the show didn't go over so well, but I think it is an amazing show, and I am deeply, deeply sad that it is over, because I really enjoyed it, and it meant a lot to me. So screw all of y'all who can't handle jokes or satire, who got the show canceled because y'all gave it horrible reviews before it even came out. TikTokers aren't talented and don't deserve their fame. I agree with this for some TikTokers, like the ones who literally just do like their little dances. Like Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, y'all are cute. I have nothing against you. Be famous, whatever. But personally, I'm like, I don't really see any talent there, especially because you're not really the ones coming up with the dances. But there are some hilarious people on TikTok. Such funny people on TikTok. Such talented people on TikTok. There are amazing creators on TikTok, and y'all sleep on them just because TikTok has a bad reputation. But I do agree with that in some aspects. But then you can say the same thing about other people. Like there's some YouTubers who don't deserve their fame, some who do, some singers who do and don't, some actors who do or don't. Everything in life is relative. everything is subjective. But I guess saying that kind of defeats the purpose of this entire video. So on that depressing note, anyway guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Obviously, let's keep it respectful. We can disagree, but we can respectfully disagree. And if you've not already, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe and turn on the post notifications bell so that you never miss another upload from me. As always, the links to my social media is just in the description below if you would like to go ahead and follow me, as well as the link to my second channel so you can go ahead and subscribe over there, and the link to my merch if you would like to check out any of my opinionated hoodies or tees or sweaters. Alrighty guys, that's it for me in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you in my next one. And as always, I hope that you have a great day or night wherever you're on the world. Bye!